Good afternoon and welcome to the National Volleyball Centre here in Kettering. Final four weekend. 2 games done on the Saturday, 2 to go. We've seen side out Bologna and IBV Bologna advance to the final tomorrow. Essex Rebels, men and women, will drop down to the third, fourth game. And now we have the doubleheader between Malory Eagles UEL and Durham Palatinates. Michael Hunter-Morris, Jess Smith will bring you this one. And Jess, 2 great games to start the day, but if anything, you always expect the 2-3 matchup to be closer, and these 2 teams on paper are a great match up.
Yeah, really excited for this match today. I think after watching some of the warm-up and looking at some of the stats for the girls from the season, it's going to be a screamer of a match.
Yeah, neither of these teams have met since early December, which is a bit of a storyline, but in the 2 league games, Durham won 3-1 up in the northeast. Having Malory taking the first set, but then when the 2 teams came down, Durham beat out Malory, but it was 3-2, 15-13 in the 5th, having Malory made the 5th set 29-27. So 2 big matchups, and it'll be Malory, the first team out, and they have big injury news. Yes, no Grace Lazard.
Yeah, really tough to make a late adjustment as a team. After speaking to the coach before the match today, interesting to see the tactics that he's expecting to deploy.
Yeah, as Malory starting 7 onto courts, wearing number 1 with Steph Boyce, number 2, Celine Batiste, number 4, Chloe Allen, number 11, Eileen Shee, number 14, Michelle Daniel, number 15, Pearl Davis, and number 3, the libero, Ariadne Sierra. As Durham, who obviously fell 3-0 here in Kettering last week, just looking to bounce back.
I'm expecting them to have a bit of a one-up on the nerve side of things because they have played at the National Volleyball Centre just last weekend. So, yes, it wasn't a success story for them, but they've got an opportunity this weekend to kind of make it right.
As the Durham starting group just been introduced, it'll be number 10 and the setter Malaya Stanton, number 5 Sydney Stevens, number 4 Taylor Letenken, number 7 and captain Alice Brand, number 18 Carmen Cafino, number 6 KJ Turner, and their libero number 2 Emily Haben. Jess, just quickly before we get underway, where do you think this game is going to be won and lost today?
I think that serve receive is going to be a key component for both sides, and trying to get that nailed down will help with the speed of the offense to try and offset any risk of getting blocked.
Durham won the toss, elected to receive, so Malory will go with Pearl Davis to open up. We did see, obviously, the stream, we had to restart the stream, but about 55% edged Malory, but a lot of people on the fence. We expect this is a potential 5-setter as we're about to get underway. Malory, Durham, and Haber with a good serve receive to start. Going to set up Brand, who's been playing opposite, and the opening point for Malory. Good block by a combination of Boyce and Shee.
Yeah, tough to pick up those block balls and do that coverage. It was good to see her there. Unfortunate that she was unable to get that popped up to her own teammates.
Cross court by Stevens, well dug out. Durham can't handle it. Carfino scrambling. And Malory with a strong start in the opening rotation.
Yeah, great swing by Stevens there. Tough scramble play. Excited to see how this progresses.
And it's interesting that Malory have gone with the setter at 2, not 1 to start. Obviously, so often we see the setter start as Carfino deals with the serve. Stanton overpass, and that's 3-0 Malory. Durham completely out of shape. Head coach Paul Welsh, hands on his head early on. Can't believe what he's seen from his Durham side, that he thought had settled down after last week's disappointment. He said they had a really good week of practice once they got it out the system within the first 10 minutes of the practice. As Carfino again had been asked to serve receive, go middle for Letenken, and that's Durham's bread and butter, going through the middle.
And that's the difference there. That was the best serve reception that they've had so far this set, and they were able to get their middle in early doors. Letenken put that ball down really well.
As the one British player on this Durham roster, Alice Brand, back to serve, finds Chloe Allen. Overpass a little bit. She with a decent still swing, but Durham able to dig it out well. Stanton cross court straight to Allen. Batiste will get there again, trying to set up She, but Letenken able to scramble, and Durham will have the free ball to work with. Carfino couldn't quite get there, so waste opportunity. Boyce with the touch. Long rally early on. Letenken with the angle.
Interesting play from both the middles there, where they were kind of a few block touches. There were some good recycles from both sides of the court. Letenken just getting the edge on that one and being able to get her hand a little bit more on it, but it looks like that connection between the setters and the middles just hasn't quite been established well enough yet.
Sierra, great pass on the serve. She gets it through the block. Terrific dig by Stanton. She again off the block, and Eileen, she really struggling to get one early. Stevens cross court, a little bit too long, but Durham having a really strong net presence early on.
Yeah, great block set up by the Malory team there, pushing Stanton just wide outside the court.
So Batiste back to serve. Stanton setting middle. Letenken finishes opposite direction, and Taylor Letenken really starting off well, Jess.
Again, yeah, that great pass leading into that beautiful connection between Stanton and Letenken there.
Letenken second in attack percentage in the Super League regular season at 43%. For a middle, often used as well, over 300 attempts on the season. Allen has to tip it, and violation called on Sydney Stevens, crossing under the net. As the Long Beach State graduate, again, story of with Sydney Stevens, didn't play indoors in college, was beach background, but done a terrific job adjusting here in Durham all year. It's been a key part of this rotation. As Carfino gets her first swing off the hands of Boyce, who will leap up to kill, but touch the net, and it'll be Palatinates point, and they'll move to back to within one early on.
Interesting to see the back-to-back net violations by each team. You would expect early on in the first set of this match for there to be a little bit of nerves, and that seems to be playing a part so far.
Stevens straight at Sierra. She gets crossed up. She was a really good job on the recovery, but Durham will have a good chance. KJ Turner on a mini slide finishes.
Such a smart set by the setter, not to push that all the way out wide. She's in a weird position, trying to get a two-step approach. There was KJ Turner. Smart play.
Turner was huge for them last week as Daniel, really good pass. Allen into the block. Sierra out of nowhere keeps the ball alive. She'll call for it, and Durham again will have the free ball. Turner slide, same result.
Yes, same set, same two-step approach on the short slide. Great pass by the libero. If you've got somebody with a hot hand, especially if it's a middle, drive that away.
Sierra, good pass again. Daniel going to get her first swing. Great dig by Haber, but Stanton, the ball came back to her just a little bit too quickly. Couldn't quite rearrange. But
yeah,
terrific play by both liberos early on.
Yeah, really great defense. You can see them scrambling across the backcourt on each side of the net.
Haber, perfect pass. Allen reads the cross-court swing by Carfino well, gets her hands to it. Daniel straight at Haber. And Haber's going to have to put it over on the free ball. Batiste able to get around Allen to get there. Daniel off the antenna. And Durham will take the first lead of this semi-final, 7 points to 6.
Interesting point there. I think Durham got let off a bit easy by that antenna ball from Malory. KJ Turner looking a bit turned around, ironically, in the middle of that point. She didn't quite get to a block, and then she wasn't able to get off the net to be ready to attack.
Batiste, reverse set. Allen, who's playing opposite. Brand got a touch on it, so the ball's going to scramble. Malory going to get a third swing at it. Allen fading away, cross-court perfection, Chloe Allen. But that was a really tough hit.
Yeah, really tough, especially to take 3 attacks on the trot off the recycle on the block. You don't have a lot of time to get back out to get your full approach in. Really great play by her, and good use of KJ Turner being late on that last block.
And Allen, without Lazar, is going to have to do a lot, as she's done all season. Pushes to serve wide, but Chloe Allen's become just an integral part of this Malory team, not just from the playing point of view, but the leadership point of view, as well as KJ Turner. The Yukon graduate will head back to the service line for the first time in this semi-final. Again, trying to pick up Chloe Allen. Daniel has to come through the middle, splits the block between Letenken and Stanton. Letenken couldn't quite just close the gap enough.
Yeah, smart play by Daniel there to get it between the block and not feeling the need to drive it really hard, but just taking that smart play through the arms.
So Daniel, loopy float serve, really short, overpass, but the push by Davis just wide, and that's an error in a semi-final like this that we think is going to be close. They're the moments you have to capitalize if you're Malory.
Yeah, as a coach for a middle, you want to be telling them to be pushing that ball straight back down. Don't worry about going too wide with it.
Allen again taking the serve receive. She again blocked. Dunware to reset, cross court, but Stevens can't find the kill. Pipe for Daniel. Letenken with the push, well read as we go. Another long rally. Daniel, a second time in a row. Letenken finishes, not quite. Allen, terrific block, and Batiste will give up the free ball. Stevens, Daniel on the dig. Allen into the net. And what a rally, Jess.
Yes, what a rally. Some great chasing on the Malory side to get that ball back across the net after a wild first defensive touch. A bit unlucky for Allen on the Malory side, unable to get underneath that ball the way she wanted to.
Davis on the slide, gets the touch. And interesting for Malory, they've been so many times the issue with this offense is they become predictable, but seeing two pipe attacks, now we see the slide. That time off has given them a chance just to manipulate the offense ever so slightly.
Yeah, that's going to be a key component of their offense this time around. Expecting to see that slide continue to be utilized.
Carfino, terrific serve receive, and they're going to call a little tip at the net.
Yeah, great use of high hands there. Tough shot to make, but if you can get it across and get the touch visible to the line judges, it's great to do.
And obviously we caught up with both head coaches before the game, and one of the things Paul Welsh said, he was looking at serve receive to attack, and he wanted to get the outsides a little bit more involved, and there Carfino able to execute as Boyce on the slide, but straight at Brand. Letenken tip. Sierra gets it over. She had almost screened her own player. Stevens down the line finds the back corner.
Yeah, great use of the fact that that block was late to get there, so she had an open net to hit down the line. Beautiful line shot.
And head coach Jefferson Williams asked Carol Gordon to hit the timeout buzzer, and Malory are going to talk it over, trailing by 3 early. And really, it's the story of all the middles right now. Neither of the outsides no outsides really got going consistently. It's teams looking for middles, and it's going to be interesting to see who can step up and kill.
Yeah, it seems like the connection has been slightly better on the Durham side, although the last couple of sets to Letenken have been a little low, so you've seen her having to be pushing that ball across the net. It'll be interesting to see how both teams come back from this, and there's not a lot in it at the minute, so hopefully Malory comes back with a good pass here on this serve receive.
Yeah, the serve receive's been pretty good apart from the one kind of misplay by Sierra. But outside of that, it's now trying to get the attack going. This is where you miss someone like Grace Lazard, athletic, quick, and really provide variety in the offense. And Chloe Allen really yet to get going as well, someone that will definitely be an integral part of the offense as she, off her knees, going to get a swing at it. She's really struggled and again can't quite get it to go. Letenken and Stevens have done a terrific job being a presence at the net.
Yeah, again, that serve receive not quite being exactly what Malory will want it to be, leaving she to be off balance trying to attack that ball.
Allen misplay. Sierra's going to chase it. Malory will get it over, but again, not what they needed from a passing unit. Stevens on the single block off the hands, and Durham pulling away early.
Yeah, she thinking that that ball was going cross court. Stevens doing a great job right at the last second to turn it down the line and using the arms of she to put it out.
Allen misplays the serve again. And ace for Alice Brand, the first of the day, and 4 quick points, and Jojo Cruz will head to the scorer's table, replace Michelle Daniel in the back court, so Malory swapping the middles around early on.
Interesting to see that Allen even passed that ball. As an opposite, you tend to see that they're hidden in the serve receive. It's a tough ball to pass. Very, very tough float serve, as you can see there. Shanked again by Sierra.
Six of the last 7 points for Durham, but make that 6 of 8 as Brand's serve just creeps over the back line. And Selena Batiste, the setter, will head back to serve. Most aces on the team for Malory is Batiste, as she splits Brandon Haber perfectly.
Yeah, great serve there. Again, the use of that float serve. And you can see that Batiste is using just a standing float, so it's not the most complicated serve to execute, but the movement on that ball from this angle is quite impressive.
Carfino from the 3-meter line. Boyce, the little tip, great job by Haber, but couldn't quite control the dig into the net, and Malory back-to-back points.
Yeah, that was a great pickup by Haber there. Latinkin just unfortunately trying to turn herself around, couldn't get her hand underneath the ball.
Stevens from off wide. Batiste has to play it. Sierra's going to come and help out a setter. Allen, long. The line was perfect, but just a little bit too much by Chloe Allen.
Yeah, really well read to see that open space. But unfortunately, she couldn't get it down where she wanted it to.
Reminder, give us your thoughts in the comments. We'll keep an eye on the chat all game long here at the National Volleyball Centre in Kettering as Taylor Latenkin with the serve. She, opposite side, good dig by the setter Stanton. So Durham out of rotation. Stevens goes down the line, but Sierra makes a play. Allen off the hands. Another terrific long rally here. Carfino finds Boyce and wins the point.
Smart play by Carfino there. She's coming in from outside the court. That sets well wide, and she's angling her body in to try and specifically have a block-out kill. Great touches by Latinkin on there. It's not often you see a middle doing quite a lot of defense, and that was a great set as well from her.
As another ace by Durham. Malory serve receiving unit to start the first 12, 14 points really solid, just falling apart right now.
Yeah, a float serve is always difficult to pass. I'm not sure if it's nerves getting to them or just the
Sierra
rotation.
calling for that nice and early. Pass gets Batiste scrambling, but Chloe Allen able to find the gap, and she gets one of her first kills of this contest.
Yeah, not the best pass ever, but you know, setting Malory up for a slightly faster tempo to the outside. That created the gap between the middle and the opposite on the Durham side between Turner and Stevens.
Another change for Malory's Carfino back to return. She's going to get a hit cross court. Sierra with the dig. Cruz rolls off tempo. Really nice change in speed by JoJo Cruz. Her first attempt at the game and gets the kill.
Such a smart play. She disguised it really well. She waited until the last second to switch that swing into a roll.
It's Kellyanne Warmington in for Malory wearing 9 as the serve goes long, and again, just when Malory needs to try and string them to points, just the service errors now creeping in for the first time and killing any chance of a run as Durham moved to 5 points away from this opening set. Batiste sets middle. Warmington blocked by Turner, going to fight for the net. Batiste has to play it, so Allen off the touch, but now Malory insists. Backcourt swing. She, great finish as Haber diving to her right, couldn't control.
That's a beautiful play from Malory there, because you see that Turner is distracted by the middle, and the timing on that block for the pipe just isn't quite there.
Brand. Carfino rolls over the block, diving by She on the dig. Cruz can't get to go. Turner on the mini slide again, beats the block, and KJ Turner, that's 3 times and 3 kills.
Yeah, that's been so effective from them, but all of that is off of the back of that amazing defense from Haber. You can see that she's really reading the swing of each hitter and moving her defensive position every time there's an attack coming.
And Haber was certainly kept busy last week by the side out game as Allen into the block, rejected by Alice Brand.
Captain on captain, absolute monster block for sure.
As Durham all but look to seal the first set, 22-15 up as Allen has to play it from the 3-meter line. Really good angle. Cruz splits the gap between Carfino and Haber, and Cruz has done a nice job off the bench.
Yeah, she really has. I think that court vision is playing into her hands at the minute. Smart serve there to take out Allen from the attacking options.
Allen, ball dips late on Haber, but she gets a good pass. Brand, good swing. And Malory going to scramble once again. Has to be another 3-ball. Stanton, long loopy set for Brand, but Sierra, good positioning. Allen from the backcourt finds Stevens. Chance to kill by Davis, doesn't finish it. Turner into the block. As Carfino from the backcourt, terrific dig by Allen, but it goes over. Brand scrambling again. Cruz has to titch it over, and the ball just creeps long, and Durham keep winning the long rallies, and that's a backbreaker for Malory if they can't win the longer points.
Yeah, you've got to get that momentum. Winning a long rally really sets you up for success longer term. Interesting to see that the continuation of that slide attack is driving a change in the blocking behavior.
As she left it at the last minute, was delighted to see the ball just creep over the line.
Yeah, quite a lot of relief on the Malory side.
So Jojo Cruz back to serve for Malory. She'll go down the line. Brand will take ownership. Carfino from the back, straight at Cruz. Davis, not quite a full swing, but Brand able to play it. Fight at the net, and it's going to be Brand over the line. Call for the violation.
Yeah, tough play there as you're coming in, and that ball was tied to quite a tight set.
Latenkin has to reach behind. Sierra goes for the long tip, but Carfino to get there. Brand cross court. Sierra with another dig. Fight at the net. Miscommunication. Stevens is going to give up the 3-ball through Brand. Cross court set. She off the block wins it.
That's a great set. You can see the tempo of this as it comes across the net, and you can see that the block just doesn't quite get into the position that they want to close down that line.
And a quick 4-1 run by Malory. Probably not enough to win this first set, but head coach Paul Welsh wants to just talk it over. Malory's started to come in confidence, and these so many scrappy points right now. And it's a credit to the work both defenses are doing, both at the net and the backcourt.
Yeah, the defense has really picked up since the first few points of the match. I would imagine that the coach, Jefferson Williams for Durham, is just telling his team to take a deep breath, get back into the rhythm that they had early on in the set, and close it out.
Both teams still with one timeout left if they need to, so plenty of options on the line. But for Malory, even if this set goes away, if you can just get a couple more points here, even if you can't quite win it, that'll give you a little bit of confidence going into a second set. As Cruz just over the net. Stevens, Carfino again gonna have to swing from the backcourt, and Sierra early slide attack for Davis, finds the kill.
Again, same thing that we're seeing on the Malory side that we had seen previously on the Durham side. That slide is so effective. It's difficult to read, especially as an outside blocker.
So Carfino setting middle, Latenkin off the hand. Sierra's going to keep it alive. Baptiste calls for it. And it's going to be a double touch, I think, on Baptiste trying to set for Cruz. Great idea by Malory, but couldn't quite get the finish.
Yeah, frustrating as a player when the play ends on something like that.
So Malaya Stanton, the Albany graduate, back at position 1 to try and serve out the set. Allen from the backcourt, dug out by Stevens. Brand, deflection, and Cruz will play it. Allen off the block, splits Brand and Latenkin. Haber can't quite get there. And that's 1 of 4 set points saved for Malory.
Yeah, great set by Malory there. Brand did a great job of setting up that block where she wanted it to be. Latinkin just was a little slow to get out there.
So Davis goes cross court straight at Stevens. Middle attack, Latinkin's going to have to tip it over. Cruz plays it, and Allen will hit from the backcourt. No real power, so easy for Carfino. Tipped by Stevens, off foot Allen. Batista's able to get there. Mallory's trying to stand the point. Big swing by Cruz. Stevens cross court, dug out by Davis. Malory again with the defense. Brand, Warmington finds the line.
What a rally indeed. Some amazing touches on both sides of the net. Stanton thinking that last ball was going to be block out, but unfortunately it just landed on the line.
Huge by Warmington off the bench. Again, Coach Jefferson Williams just getting the substitutions right. Cruz had a big impact. Now Warmington with the timely block, and now there's a little bit of pressure on Durham. That's 3 set points gone. If you give up this one, then it starts to become a little bit panic stations.
I think that the Malory team as well will be quite impressed with themselves on coming back a few points and closing that gap. If nothing else, you alluded to this earlier, but it will give them some momentum going into set 2.
Yeah, it's a 7-2 run for Malory. So Pearl Davis back to serve. Her second year with the Eagles. She'll go cross court. Stevens push it a little bit wider than she wanted. Good dig, finds the gap between Davis and she, and great finish by Sydney Stevens to win the first set for Durham, 25-22.
Yeah, that's a great swing to end the set with, just using the fact that the block was pushed out too far to the pin and left her plenty of cross-court space to aim at, taking advantage of the closeness of the two defending players.
And you can see Emily Haber leading that Durham timeout. A really smart decision just to delay things a little bit and just compose your team before the head coach gives more instructions. It's clearly something she noticed from that position that she wanted to tweak and just settle down and just get the players refocused a little bit.
Yeah, really good leadership from the libero. Being in the backcourt all the time, you have a slightly different court vision to what your other players will have. You can see the tempo of the sets coming from your opponents. You can see what's working and what isn't as far as service targeting. So, and as well, I would expect that she's having a couple of comments for her teammates around closing the block because it's putting her in a difficult position on defense.
And it's interesting that both teams have been middle heavy so far. Obviously, Latenkin and potentially KJ Turner on that mini slide, and it'll be interesting to see if either defensive block can kind of adjust to that and start to take that slide away by just repositioning ever so slightly.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to reposition for because even if you do get your block set in a position that you think you've got the slide covered, the angle that you're coming in at as a middle gives you options both cross-court and line that you wouldn't normally have when you're coming straight in.
As a couple of the Malory players getting interviews, that is an absolute choke job. Hopefully you play better than you can talk on a mic.
I'm sure they can. Really looking forward to that match later on.
Yeah, obviously a rematch of last week's Men's National Cup final. A little bit of a controversial finish, and having been at Malory practice on Monday, I know a few of them were very fired up and looking forward to having a chance to avenge that defeat. As Adam Lovelock, our MC, gives out a couple of bang-bang sticks. Crowd has thinned out a little bit. Looks like the Essex Rebels players still on their... Still not in the arena, having just obviously narrowly missed out in what was a terrific men's semi-final. Also in this set break, got to give credit. Big news in Super League today. It was playoff day. London Lionhearts staying in the league for next season, Jess.
Yeah, really exciting for them. Interesting to see that they won that playoff game 3-0. Quite a surprise in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was convincing 3-0 as well. I think 25-7, 25-14, 25-15 over Stockport. So London Lionhearts will retain that. And I'm sure Durham will be slightly disappointed because the difference between travelling to London and Stockport for them is quite substantial. But Durham are used to racking up the miles, obviously being based in the northeast. As both teams about to come out for set number 2. It'll be interesting to see what lineup Malory go with. It looks like the changes that ended the first set well, what we'll start with set 2. So Jojo Cruz and Kelly Warmington will get the start, replacing Boyce and Daniel, who started set 1. Durham, no changes as expected. A really well played first set by the Palatinates as they look to bounce back from that 3-0 defeat last week to Team Side Out. And head coach Paul Welsh told us before the game was about installing confidence, and the best way to get confidence is winning set number 1.
Yeah, great start for Durham. They'll be really pleased with themselves, and they'll be looking to capitalize on that momentum that they have from set number 1 as we open this second set.
She touches the antennae. Second time Malory hitters haven't quite avoided that. Those new to volleyball, that little red and white antenna you see sticking above the net. If the ball touches that, it is out of play. It's got to go inside of that from a swing.
Credit to the block of Stevens there, closing that gap so that she only had a small space to aim at, pushing her into that antenna.
Batiste with the setter dump. First one we've seen today. It was a little bit of an overpass, and the Durham middles just switched off. Latenkin just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, you have to be watching the setter, and you have to be watching the angle of the pass as it's coming to you as a middle. You've got to be ready to block that ball.
So Pearl Davis back to open the set for Malory. Latenkin down the middle, finds the angle. Batiste too tight to the net, couldn't quite help Chloe Allen out, but a really nice angle by Latenkin.
Yeah, really smart play. She came in and her body was facing towards position number 5, and at the last second she did the crossbody swing all the way down to position 1.
She rejected by Latenkin. The block leader of the Super League comes up big.
Again, Brand setting that block where she wants it to be. Latenkin making it all the way out to her that time, and the benefits showing with that monster block.
Just under 1 block per set for a kill as Warmington has to tip. Latenkin down the middle, splits the block, going to be a fight for it. Latenkin can't finish, and the ball comes over, and an inadvertent whistle by Dominic DiMattia. Rare mistake by him. Obviously, huge award last week, winning umpire of the year, but luckily it doesn't cost either team a point. I had to reset, and we'll play that point with Durham leading 3 points to 1. Batiste, long push, Latenkin gets another hand to it. Taylor Latenkin really dominating the net. Stevens into the net cord. And point to Malory, and they trail by 1 now.
Yeah, calling that there was no touch on that. That was an amazing pass, though, to start that rally off by Cruz.
Carfino blocked by Warmington, but ball back on the side, and Latenkin can only tip it to Sierra. Another good block. The Durham net really dominating right now. Allen goes long, but touch is called from our near side, and we'll tie it 3 apiece, but Latenkin, Stevens, Carfino really making life difficult for Malory in the front court.
Yeah, it's that distribution from the setter, though, that's really giving them a hard time on the Durham side.
Haber, perfect pass. Stanton doesn't have to move, but deflected this time by Malory. Allen off speed, off the net, rolls it in nicely. Chloe Allen. A little bit of luck, but you take what you can get in a semi-final.
Yeah, it almost looked like she was aiming for the hands to try and get the recycle off the block, and then just lucked out that it rolled off the tape and in.
Brand finds Carfino, finishes down the line. Batiste glued to the floor, but it's a terrific swing.
Too much line there, way too much line.
Batiste does a good job trying to keep it alive, but again, it's the serve received by Malory, just breaking down enough for KJ Turner to finish it off at the net. She takes it off Sierra. Warmington! over Latenkin. Big finish by the Malory middle. And again, Malory just keeping the attack diversified right now, and it's a really good adjustment by Batiste.
Yeah, what a difference between those 2 points, and the ultimate driver of that is really just the fact that that pass was so perfect.
Carfino cross-court, Cruz asking for it by Sierra. Sierra gives her the ball, she tips it over Stanton. Haber, terrific defensive play. And Malory set up. Allen through the middle, makes no mistake, and the Malory men's team are loving it.
Such a smart play by Warmington there, getting Durham off balance, setting up that almost free ball for Malory to then put it away quite handily.
As Turner down the middle, blocked by Warmington. Stevens goes cross-court, the Malory block splits, and great precision to find the seam by Sydney Stevens for the kill.
Yeah, really tough call to try and decide as a middle where to go with the block, because Turner has been such a threat on the Durham side.
Cruz, Allen on the back set, finds Stevens, good positioning. As Carfino tips it over, pancake by Sierra. And that was cooled down, that was tight.
Yeah, you could hear the boos from across the arena from
I mean, they are Malory fans, so I can't tell if
yes.
that means it's a good or bad decision, but Sierra, I think she thought she may have got there, as Cruz has to wait on it, finds Haber, gets crossed up, and it's a double touch by, or lift by Turner. And we're tied at 7 in set number 2.
Yeah, tough judgment call that as a referee to decide whether or not that's a lift. It did look like she was holding that for a little too long.
And a rare service mistake by Haber, one of the best serve receivers in the Super League. Can't quite deal with the Warmington serve. And Kellyanne Warmington, at the risk of jinxing, had 2 ounce of jinx in the first game, yet to make a service error this year. Not a frequent service. Turner, a big slide, finds the roll over Cruz.
That's such an incredibly ambitious slide. That ball was set from position number 4, almost all the way out at the antenna from the outside position on the Durham side. And yet Turner made connection with that and put it down.
Allen cross court, just misses the sideline. To go in the other thing about that Turner slide is her starting position. She was dead center. She had a lot of ground to cover to get there. Great speed and athleticism. Davis has to play it off the net cord. Cruz, Haber with a terrific dig, and Carfino pedaling backwards, can't get it over from beyond the baseline.
What a pickup by Davis on that net roller of a serve, though. That's such a hard one to react to.
And you can tell now the game's settled how evenly matched these 2 teams are. Obviously Durham with the early edge, winning set number 1 as Carfino has to wait for that serve. Turner pushes, Davis gets away with it, and Allen has to play it over. Turner slide again, but finds Allen. Ambitious by Batiste, but good recognition by Brand, but she gets rejected by Davis.
What a block by Davis there. Some really great plays. Allen made a beautiful dig on this side of the net. A great tip play by Turner on the Durham side. And
Brand's defensive effort to read the block as Chloe Allen completely mishits the serve. But the recognition on a server dump away from the body and going the opposite direction, so often you see that as a kill. As Turner back to serve. She had 4 points on serve in the first set. Forces Cruz to play it. Davis on the slide. Good hands by the Durham block team. As Brand goes down the line and she can't quite handle it after deflection by Allen.
Great swing by Brand. Great use of the high hands. We've been seeing the Durham team do that as an attacking group so far this set. That use of high hands makes it really difficult to pick up as a defender.
As Davis down the middle, small quick set by Batiste, and Davis makes no mistake, and she's definitely grown into this second set, and she's someone that can impact. She's got a big arm and a lot of reach, Pearl Davis.
Yeah, really great height, going almost over the top of the block to put that ball down.
Good early call by Carfino. She didn't have to move for that, though, as Brand into the block. Great touch by Stanton, and terrific by Carfino on the third touch to keep it alive. She can't quite get the kill. Eileen Shee really struggling early, and the ball long by Stevens from the backcourt.
Stevens looks a little frustrated with herself off of that one. She had an open net between the two blockers there, and she just didn't quite get the snap of the wrist.
Carfino. Stevens from the backcourt blocks. Sierra does good job getting to the ball. Allen from the backcourt, but Haber able to get her hands to it. Brand's going to have to roll it over, but almost a free ball. Davis down the middle. Haber again, terrific defensive play. Both liberos doing really well as Sierra tries to read it. Cruz from the backcourt finds an angle, one-handed dig by Stevens as Sierra diving keeps it alive. Another long rally. Letenkin on the slide finds the kill through the hands of Shee.
What a rally. Great defense. Sierra was diving all over the place. Bodies flying around, balls getting up, everybody happy. And in the end, she, I think, just feeling the fatigue of that really long rally and not quite closing her arms on that block.
So midway through set number 2, we are tied at 12. As Shee into the block again. Eileen Shee's got nothing going offensively. Batiste, Letenkin able to come off the net. Brand with the attempt to kill, fight at the net. Letenkin, Cruz gets it over. Malory somehow avoiding touch 4. Letenkin into the block of Davis. And Pearl Davis is off the knees.
What a great read to get up and get a block on that ball. Durham thinking that they were going to have an open net there with Davis being off balance, but she made it.
And Davis will be rewarded with the serve. Letenkin comes off. Not often you see Taylor Letenkin with the serve. Bad set. Forces Stevens back. Allen's going to have to run round it. Good angle. But Haber again early on it. Stevens down the middle. Blocked by Batiste. And she'll get another go. Free net as Allen diving. Shee off the block for the kill. And Eileen Shee with just a second kill, I think, of the game.
Yeah, that was a great swing from her. She has had some good swings. I think she's having a difficult time at the minute as a slightly undersized outside hitter against the rather large Durham block.
As the Malory fans wanted something on the serve. I just looked away, I'm not quite sure, but point continues. Allen from the backcourt. Good dig by Stanton. Letenkin's going to have to set. Roll over by Alice Brand. Great off-speed tip.
So smart there. Bit of confusion between Warmington and her defense. It's really difficult because as a defender behind your middle, you don't really want them to reach behind them for that ball because it will put it down just like what happened there.
So Durham captain Alice Brand off the kill again, looking to serve. She'll find Cruz. Warmington on the slide, finds the corner to perfection.
Again, those slide attacks from both teams being so effective. Neither team quite getting out far enough to that pin to make sure they can get a block.
And neither coach going to the bench, but a lot of instructions flying around from Paul Welsh and Jefferson Williams as they try and help their team go through, and a touch on the block by Allen takes it through. And
again, we see Stevens using those high hands to try and get the ball away from the defenders in 5 and 6, and it's being quite effective so far.
Really nice adjustment from Sydney Stevens, who was really effective in the backcourt last week in the Women's National Cup final, but struggled from the front courts. Allen is set. Dig by Letenkin on the 4. Cross court goes Shee, and Cruz will have to roll it over. Goes off speed. Carfino finds the floor. And again, Durham changing their speeds really effectively just to throw off the Malory block.
Yeah, quite a lot of mixture going on in the Durham offense, really keeping the Malory team off speed. Malory's going to call a timeout now. It is 15-all. Really tight set so far.
Yeah, and we'll have a look into the Malory huddle here with Jefferson Williams. Clearly just talking about angles. You can tell he's just trying to point to something he can't quite see, but Jeff always one of the more animated coach in the league. And just trying to find a way, because Durham are playing well enough that he knows the reverse sweep will be difficult if they do go 2 sets down. So this almost becomes a must-win for Malory.
Yeah, we have seen over the last few points the passing and defense for the Malory team has been so much better than what we saw in set 1. Really great to see them come back and level themselves out, start playing at their own pace.
Shout out to DJ Wade behind the music. He's provided the tunes throughout the day.
As it'll be Taylor Latenkin to serve.
Not exactly sure what Brand is asking the referee,
Maybe
but she is having a discussion.
We've seen it a couple of times, warnings for late out of timeouts. I think that's what it is, because she goes over to head coach Paul Welsh. So, yeah, maybe Durham are leading a little bit slow at the timeout as the Malory men go to get changed for their game. Obviously, Malory Durham men coming up after us as Stevens goes deep on it. And Malory retain the lead, and Jefferson Williams using that timeout to think about some changes. Eileen Shee will take a breather. A little bit of an inconsistent server. 25% error rate on the serve. So in comes Sophie Shishko for Malory. Little bit of a specialist. Definitely been used for a lot of service moments in big points for Malory. And she'll step off the bench and find Carfino on the cross-court serve. Carfino off the block. Batiste is going to get there, so Sierra will set. Allen can't quite connect and kind of just didn't get a clean contact and kind of just spewed off to the right by Chloe Allen.
Yeah, tough angle there. I think she was trying to angle it as far down the line as she could to avoid Haber, who's been so great on defense, and just overshot that a little bit.
Batiste able to get there. Cruz off the block, and Malory will recycle. Cruz again rolls. Good defense by Stevens to come up. Carfino into the net.
Carfino looking there like her timing was just not quite right. She was a little late getting to that ball. It was a little low at the point that she struck it. But a great rally.
Remind us, get your thoughts in the comments section. Currently 130 of you watching. Not a single thought about this game, which surprises as Turner on the slide, but the touch by Cruz as the lines just dropped his flag, so we had that half-second split, but KJ Turner again so effective on the slide.
Yeah, again, that has just been such a killer for the Malory team. They did get the block out that time because there was a touch on it, because that ball would have maybe gone out without a block touch anyway.
Turner gets the hand to Allen set. She's going to have to go with an angle. Again, can't get a clean swing on it. Brand cross court. Davis down the middle, couldn't quite get it enough on the deck, but Stanton plays it. Turner into the block. And again, Malory getting hands on it, but just can't direct it enough as Cruz not quite pressing down enough.
Yeah, really interesting play that time. Turner didn't come in for a slide. She was actually standing out in the opposite position, coming in for a straight approach.
Allen Haber, one-handed dig. Brand's going to be able to put a swing on it. Good hands by Shishko. Allen calls for it early enough to put it back in play, but free ball for the Palatinates. Brand to Sierra. Cruz goes line, and Brand leaves it. Was thinking Stanton was going to get there, and Malory win a big point.
Yeah, looked like a bit of confusion between Stanton and Turner there, because nobody went up for the block against Cruz on that ball.
But what a play by Shishko off the bench. Sprawling to her right to keep it alive. Both teams' defenses. Allen finds the ace. Float serve, and Stevens couldn't quite get it up.
Great to see that service pressure continue. I think both coaches mentioned service pressure when we spoke to them ahead of the match.
Turner. Sierra reads that perfectly, that tip. Cruz cross court with the angle. Haber couldn't quite get there, and head coach Paul Welsh going to talk it over. Trailing by 2 late in the set. Malory trying to force it to 1 set all.
Yeah, I think Durham are going to have to adjust here on that point, we saw that Turner was blocked on the slide, although it was recycled. But they need to make an adjustment now because their slide is going to reduce inefficiency as we keep carrying on.
Yeah, and assistant coach Ross Enfield leading that huddle. Just trying to find some calming instructions to the players. Both teams have been in close games, close sets all year long, so it'll be interesting for Durham. Obviously, 17-1 record. Don't know how losing feels too often. Dropping 11 sets, but it was the one to Lionhearts on the last day of the season that cost them the #1 seed, and a matchup that I think Malory probably would have favoured ever so slightly over side out, having beaten them in 5 multiple times. Turner on the slide out at the timeout.
Quite funny, I've just said that Malory did a great job of adjusting the block against Turner's slide, and then she comes in between.
Yeah, splits the put perfectly, and a rotation error by Malory. That's a cheap one to give away at this stage of the set. And as coaches, there's the ones that you really frustrate you. That's just a mental error. But Turner finds the net, and she'll head to the bench.
Yeah, 2 cheap errors from each side there. A bit silly to be out of rotation, but a bit silly to pop the ball into the net as well.
Cruz, who's done an effective job getting the ball in play. Letenkin on the slide. Allen gets it. Davis is going to just push it, and Sierra will go cross court. Finds Brand. Shishko gets it up in the air. Batiste with the tips. Great play by Haber to read. And backcourt, Carfino into the net. And Sophie Shishko is having a huge defensive impact for Malory.
Yeah, massive impact into this game. You can already see the momentum shifting. I think the changes have really meant the difference between set 1 and what we're seeing now.
Brand going to get it back off the serve receive. Allen will get it. Malory to Davis. Good sprawling play again by Carfino. Both teams really struggling to find kills in this second set. Shishko's going to have to go with great angle. Haber finds Letenkin. Sierra out of nowhere, and Malory can't quite get there.
As a libero, that is such a frustrating thing. You think you get a great touch on the ball, but unfortunately you've put it somewhere that your teammates can't quite get to it. What a great read from her, though.
So, Malay Stanton, the setter, back in rotation 1. Allen. Batiste with a huge dump. That looked like it was going over the net, and she just reached ever so slightly at the last minute to off angle, and the angle on it is perfection.
That's such a massive save because that was such a tight pass. The fact that she was able to get her fingers on it and direct it to somewhere that had space was incredible.
So Davis to serve. Letenkin has to play it. Wants it back. Doesn't get it. Stevens blocked by Warmington. Davis with the backcourt save. Allen from the back. Letenkin again. Hands all over the front of the net. She'll get it. Isolated block. Malory's scrambling but can't quite get there. And great finish by Letenkin again, who's really dominating the net for Durham.
Yeah, it looks like almost like Malory are targeting Letenkin on the serve, which is quite interesting to see because it's not often you have a middle passing a service.
Brand finds Allen. Warmington on the slide, blocked by Carfino. Great read. Letenkin again gets all the way across the net. Batiste goes for the kill. Big rush of blood to the head, and Durham are level at 23 each.
Yeah, 2 great bits of block coverage there by Sierra. And off the back of that, the Malory coach calls a timeout.
Yeah, and Jefferson Williams wants to talk it over. Batiste had more time there. She had the time to set something else. Maybe you go pipe, maybe go opposite. But tries to go for the big play.
Yeah, this is the point where as a coach, you just need to take a timeout. Have your players remember, you've been doing well. Don't get caught up too much in the here and now where you aren't actually thinking about what you're doing, especially when you've got a decent ball up like what Sierra put up for her there. You've got time to think about where that next ball should go. Second referee there having a chat with Coach Williams and reminding him that when the whistle blows, his team needs to be back on the court.
I think that was second time out. Durham has still got one. Might have been both. Loopy serve. Cruz will get under it. Shishko opposite finds the baseline. Brand was praying that went long, but a huge hit. And Sophie Shishko's had a huge serve, and Selena Baptiste will have set point. Malory looking to make this one settle. Letenkin down the middle finds Cruz. Malory going to have a swing at it. Allen off the top, and Letenkin plays it. So Stevens will set into the block. Haber called for it. Batiste is going to push set. Allen through the block of Letenkin, and we are one set apiece. And Chloe Allen, captain's play to clinch it.
Yeah, again, a bit disappointing from the Durham block there. There weren't that many options on that particular play. It was always going to go to the outside, so the fact that Letenkin didn't close that block to Stevens left that point open to Malory. Massive change this set in Malory's defensive and serve-receive performance versus set number one. I think that's really been the difference maker that led them to victory this time around.
And the only way we can describe this game right now is it is a war. Neither team can find clean kills. Defenses are scrambling. It's not the prettiest volleyball, but I'm not sure either team will mind if they can find a way to win. But finding a way to win is going to be so critical, because it's going to be at least 2 more long sets.
Yes, at least 2 more. Really great game so far. Really interesting to see how evenly the two teams are matched, which I think is leading to that bit of a scramble when it comes down to the points. But it's so interesting to watch. The number of quite long rallies is insane. So I think fatigue is going to come in if we make it all the way to a 5th set.
Indeed, and we focus on Malory. How do you try and limit KJ Turner on the slide? Because I think if you solve that, you'll feel like you're in a really good place, because it feels like every time Turner slides, she wins the point.
It's a really difficult one. You need your pin hitter to be all the way out to the antenna to cover off that line piece. As a middle blocker, you're always going to struggle to close out the block on a slide because of the speed that it's going. The other aspect is, if Durham can keep throwing Malory off with that slide, they'll start pushing the ball out to 4, where their 4 will then have a single block.
Yeah, it's interesting that head coach for Malory, Jefferson Williams, took a long time to hand his lineup in. He had a long chat with one of the assistant coaches, Ian Legrand, taking stats. So I just wonder if there's just going to be a slight rotation tweak here for Malory. Obviously, Durham, you were dominant at the net in set 1. How do you get that dominance back? Is it a case of really just taking your time to focus on the outside hitters and letting Malory go through the middle? Or do they just need to mix it up a little bit? Has it become a little bit too predictable, that block defense?
I think actually the offense on the Malory side has become slightly more predictable. They're relying on Allen quite a lot from hitting. And as well, we're seeing quite a lot from Cruz. So as a Durham team, you need to focus on the players that Malory are focusing on as well. Set yourself up for good block defense.
As it's great to see some of our young fans in the crowd. And this young fan hasn't got a team yet, so he's being asked to pick one the next time out. It'll be interesting to see. I wonder if she goes with whoever's leading on the scoreboard.
Fans, make some noise! Malory Eagles fans, make some noise! All right, back to the action.
As it'll be Pearl Davis back to serve. So same rotation for Malory as that ended the set. So still going Batiste, Shi, Warmington, Cruz, Allen and Davis. As for Durham, the same 7. Don't really expect to see much changes. So it's Stanton, Brand, Haber, Cafino, Stevens and Letenkin. We'll obviously KJ Turner on the rotation as Haber finds Brand on the empty net. Great start by Durham.
Beautiful pass there. It meant that Malory thought that Durham were going to go straight to Letenkin, and that left Stevens an open net.
Brand deep. Cruz able to go. She finds the gap between Stevens' arms. Great job to avoid hitting the antenna. Stevens thought she closed it off but couldn't quite finish the block.
Yeah, Stevens again a little frustrated with herself by not closing her arms there.
Off-speed serve by Batiste finds the floor. And how difficult is that to execute when it lands inside the 3-meter line?
As a server, that's one of the hardest serves to execute. As a receiver, it's so hard to read. You can see from the angle that we've got on the video today, it's hard to tell where that ball's going to drop.
Letenkin plays it and Carfino with the kill, but again, another perfect waiting by Batiste. And Taylor Letenkin is playing a ton of ball in serve receive, probably as much as she's seen all season long.
Yeah, again, I think Malory's trying to target her on the serve receive to try and take her out of the offense where they possibly can, although she's had quite a few where she's passed the ball and then come back to immediately hit.
She goes cross-court, good hands. Carfino somehow gets it over on the angle. Warmington can't quite time it up, has to scoop it over. Stevens tries to go line and can't quite connect.
Great set from Letenkin there. Stevens just trying to get that ball down the line and putting a little bit too much side angle on it. Really great play so far. Interesting to see that Haber's got about half of the court on the service reception, but she's been so good, it makes sense to give her that space.
Turner slide a little bit too long. Durham thought there may have been a little touch on it, but the ball was definitely out. And there you go, Taylor Letenkin, 18 games, 62 sets in the league, 10 serve receives. I believe she's up to 5 on the day as she serve goes long. So terrific job by Malory, just to try and force, again, just a little bit of off-rotation. At that point, as a setter, and Stanton, who's done a good job, she's really scrambling because she's not expecting Letenkin to be setting as Stevens finds the net. So really interesting that Jefferson Williams said to us before the game he's changed some things. That's clearly part of the game plan. But now it's about executing that and forcing Durham to adjust. As it'll be Warmington back to serve. She goes cross-court, Carfino, good pass. She'll get it back, cross-court, good dig by Warmington. As Cruz has to roll over. Turner, slide, tip. Allen.
Outside the antenna there.
Outside the antenna, but Chloe Allen got to that out of nowhere. And again, Malory's defense just keeping them in so many points. They've done a really good job once the ball's got into open play.
Yeah, that was a beautiful play. Really interesting to see as well. We've seen a couple of teams and plays that so far today where players are getting into their defensive positions and just hoping that the ball lands on them rather than reading the arm of the attacker.
Overpass, Turner on the single coverage slide, gets it to go again. And again, it's the mistake by the Malory on the overpass. Sierra had to scramble it over, and that just allows Durham to be so calm and collected in the offense. Much better by Paul Welsh's unit. As Batiste goes down the middle off the hands of Turner. And again, it's clearly an emphasis. Malory's middles have grown into this game.
That's such a quick set as well. You saw that Turner had a hard time even getting up to put her hands on that ball. Still on her way up as the ball hit her, which meant that it went out because she didn't get her hands down to push back down towards the floor.
Haber, perfect pass. Turner into the net. Doesn't get the touch. Bottom of the net cord for KJ Turner, and Malory up by 2.
Again, just trying to force that slide a little bit too much almost in that play. That was a fairly fast pass by Haber, although it was right on the money.
Brand finds Sierra. Backcourt for Allen. A Carfino, huge dig. Great set by Stanton. Sierra again, right place, right time. Cruz goes down the line. Carfino with the cover from the middle. Brand into the block. Another long rally. Davis with the kill.
What a read by Carfino to pick up that ball in the deep quarter. Although Malory did such a great job to get a good pass in off of that defense, put up a middle and put that ball down, beating even Haber, who's been almost unstoppable in defense today.
Stanton, Turner tip, Sierra reads it beautifully. Cruz will get it back, goes line for the kill. JoJo Cruz, who did not start this game, has been impactful. Paul Welsh.
She's done such a great job so far of changing up the angle of her hits. That time going down the line, as the block adjusts to that, she will go back cross court and she will put the ball down.
Turner again kills it off.
We said it in set number 1, if you've got somebody that's a hot hand, especially when it's a middle and you're doing it on the slide, keep pushing at it. They're forcing it sometimes, and you can see that Turner's not always making the contact that she wants, but even on a tip, that slide is so effective for Durham.
She plays it. Don't know if that ball was going to hit the sideline, but Cruz finishes. Stanton was the one set up for the block, and Cruz took advantage of it.
Yeah, Cruz taking advantage of that size mismatch and the room between the antenna and herself that she left for Cruz.
So Turner out for Durham on the rotation. Had a quick word with Paul Welsh. I wonder if he's saying just mix it up and go middle a little bit. The slide's becoming predictable, but Letenken on the slide finishes this time, and that's it. It's almost like, you know, Turner's going to slide. At some point you think Malory might adjust, so therefore changing the rhythm, setting Turner once or twice middle might just freeze that block, and you might need that as it goes to deep 4, maybe even a 5th. But Letenken this time executing, and it'll be Malay Stanton back. Davis has to push it over, finds an angle. Stanton has to play it. Brand on the tip. Malory able to be there. She cross court with authority.
What an angle, taking advantage of the fact that Letenken didn't quite close herself all the way to the net as she was going out to get to that block, leaving she quite a sharp angle to hit down.
Carfino's done a really good job serve receive. Letenken down the middle. And right now this is almost a weakness. As much as Durham are getting away with it right now, this is the weakness. They are so reliant on the middles right now to kill this ball.
Yes, they are. When they do change it up, and we're seeing Carfino and Stevens and Brand hit the ball, they're doing a great job, but they're being defended well by the Malory team. So it's the middles that are putting the ball down. And
Cruz scrambling. She over the advertising boards, keeps it alive. Sierra calls for it, gets it over. Letenken has to play it. Carfino off the block. Sierra's going to scramble, keep it in. Malory scramble defense. All 3 sets has been terrific. Letenken tip. Sierra keeps it up. Cruz again gives a free ball. This would be a backbreaker point for Durham if they can't finish. Allen again, another free ball. Letenken takes it away. Scramble, Carfino over, and now Malory have the offensive chance. Allen from the backcourt. Letenken and Carfino again. Stevens free net. Dig by Cruz. And Malory win the point. And that is textbook defense, Malory Eagles.
yeah, Durham had several opportunities there. They had several free balls. They should have put that ball down.
And Paul Welsh needs a timeout. That is such a demoralizing point for Durham. You did everything right except find a kill.
Yeah, and after a point like that, it can shift the momentum of a match quite easily. We can see already that Malory up by 4 points. He doesn't want to let that grow any further. This is the time to stop your players and say, here's the things you did great during that point, and here's the things that you need to do better.
And as predicted, we're not scoreboard watching, but we got a new little Malory Eagle fan in the crowd. And you can see Paul Welsh almost as animated as I've seen him both last week and this week, trying to fire up his offense, trying to get that encouragement. And this is where the problem with Durham having both middles being your best hitters is generally they don't play together on the rotation. So it's wondering, does he make a bold rotation change? Almost play Turner as an outside. She's had so much success on the slide. Do you kind of put her in a different position later in the set if Malory keep pulling away? As Batiste, who had an ace early in this set, on the serve. Stevens finds the back line. Great job, Sydney Stevens, out the timeout.
That's an incredible swing. Everybody on the Malory side thinking that ball is going well out, and it just dips at the last minute and tags that corner.
And this is moments. Sydney Stevens is such an emotional leader for this Durham team as Letenken pushes the serve wide. Well left by Cruz, but if she's Sydney Stevens is the person I'm looking to right now to lead this team because she is so emotional. and she can get this team fired up, and that's what Paul Welsh wanted in that timeout. So no real surprise they went to her here as the float serve, well dealt with by Carfino. KJ Turner down the middle, there's the adjustment.
Again, though, she's still going behind the setter. It's just so much closer to the middle that Malory aren't expecting it. So the slight change in angle is enough to throw the block off. Smart, smart set.
Cruz down the line. Stanton is really struggling with that matchup, and Malory keep finding it.
What a change, though, on the Malory side. We've seen where Sierra has been stepping in much more on the serve reception, and it's improving their accuracy so much that Cruz is able to take that open swing.
Warmington, Carfino does well to deal with it, and perfectly placed by Turner. Not powerful, but just recognized the gap.
Yeah, smart turn by Turner at the end there. Again, just that slight adjustment to the positioning of that set to the middle.
Good pass. Cruz, again, Turner with the tip. She'll call for it, so Stanton couldn't get there. Brand from the backcourt. Ball hits the antennae. The line judge calling it. Malory were desperate for that.
Yeah. Coach Williams over there waving his arms just as frantically as the line judge is waving his flag.
And the players playing it. Alan nearly played the ball while trying to wave for the antennae touch.
Well, the first rule of volleyball is always play until the whistle, so you have to keep playing it even if you're complaining while you do so.
Stanton, Turner, blocked by Davis, I believe.
What a block by Davis. This is such a great read. You can see her setting herself up for that slide. She knew it was coming. They've done 2 other sets. It was time to go back.
Allen into the net. As Malory keep this lead at 4-5. And if you can just get the next 2 to 3 sides out on this first serve, you'll be really confident if you're Malory. So KJ Turner with trying to put some pressure on, but the Malory serve receive unit has definitely held up a lot better. Letenkin with the tip, well read by, but it's Batiste. Sierra up in the air, and Durham are going to get a good swing at it. It's Brand into the block. Slide by Davis, tip, pancake block by KJ Turner. She plays it off her knees for the free ball. Davis asks for it, gets it back. Davis is gonna take her time, smart decision. Cruz off speed, great job by Stevens, but it's over in 1 again. Malory have options. Setter dump by Batiste, no good. Brand cross court, wide. And Durham nearly pulled off what Malory did earlier.
Really interesting call by the first referee to overrule his line judge, saying, no, that ball tagged the sideline on its way down.
Good spot. So big point by Durham. We saw the one that forced the Durham timeout was similar to that, where it just felt all the well. There was only one team going to win it. It's Allen into the net tape, gets it over. Stevens cross court, no good. She from the back finds the angle, but a little bit long, and timeout Malory Eagles. 2 quick points by KJ Turner on serve, and we're back to a 2-point set.
Yeah, I was just about to say, this is about the time that you need to be talking about a timeout. As a Malory coach, you don't want that gap to close anymore. Malory are now down to a 2-point lead. So Durham have had a great comeback here. A lot of that driven by the amazing defense that we've seen from KJ Turner in the backcourt. Not often you see that level of defense from the middle. She had a great pancake. She's had a couple of really good pickups. A good read as well on that setter dump from Letenkin to keep that ball alive.
And we often say sport at the highest level is a game of inches, and that's your perfect example. The cross court. The cross court by Durham judged to hit the line, and then by Malory, the one that was just an inch long. So KJ Turner back-to-back points on serve. Can she make it 3? Cruz finds the gap. Carfino, great read, but again, it's over on the first touch. Cruz into the net tape. Referee says no touch, and KJ Turner has a chance to tie us up at 16 apiece. and JoJo Cruz just can't find the kill when
Yeah.
the team needed it.
Great passing there by Sierra on the Malory side.
But he's going to go middle. Letenken, so low block. We are tied at 16.
What a read by Letenken. Malory have been so pin heavy this match that it's just been a bit of a surprise when they do go to the middle, at least in this set so far. So Letenken sticking with the middle on that one was such a smart commit block.
She has to get on her knee. Allen from the backcourt. Letenken back-to-back blocks.
Letenken has been watching the Malory setter for the last 2+ sets, and now she says, I've got you dialed in, and I'm watching where the ball is going.
Sierra. Overpass, but Batiste beats Letenken to it at the net, and Durham have to give up the free ball. Cruz into the block. Batiste plays it, so Sierra's setting. It's going to be she from the backcourt. Long. Durham, 6 straight points.
The Malory coach has to be thinking about substitutions now.
Or your second time out.
Or his second time out. That might be the third hitting error that we've seen from She in a row. She had an open net there from the pipe. That's a pretty long distance to try and, you've got lots of room to get the ball in the court, and she hit it long again. You've got to be thinking, do you go back to the substitution that you made in the last set, take She off for a bit, give her a little bit of a rest, let her mentally reset, bring some new blood into the court, change things up a bit?
Yeah, do you change your hitters? They've had some good swings across the board, haven't quite found the kill in the last 6-7 points. You can see Jeff Williams still turking to Pearl Davis. Coach Paul Welsh giving her instruction what he wants. Sierra again on the serve receive. Slide by Davis into the block. It's going to be called a tip and a point to Durham. And the Durham block is dominating, and this might just be the deciding factor in the game. It's what won in the first set.
That service from Turner going over the net with literally no spin on the ball. You could probably read the Mikasa text as it's crossing the plane of the net.
Brand, Sierra diving to her right. Cruz to Carfino. Miscommunication. Stanton gets to it. Brand off speed. Gets Allen to the deck. Cruz touched on the block by Letenken. And Malory finally win a point. A much needed one for the Eagles with 7 straight as they try and stay alive and take set number 3.
Very intelligent play by Cruz there, taking that little deep breath, not having to swing with full power, but just going for those high hands of Letenken to put the ball away.
And it's because it forces side out. It's Turner to the benches. Cruz low serve, ball into net, and Carfina's going to have to pass it over. Free ball Malory. She isolated block. Carfino nearly got there, but couldn't quite handle it off the touch.
Such great passing there. You could hear on the Durham side all of the players shouting, slide, 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 and then that ball went to the outside. Smart play.
Batiste has done a pretty good job from the setter spot, mixing it up as Carfino again takes command of the back unit for serve receive. Brand, Sierra. She wins the point, going at Stanton, and that's clearly Malory targeting Malaya Stanton when she's at the net on a blocking position.
Yeah, that has to be the third or fourth use of Stanton's arms, where she's just a step or so inside the pin, and they're using the outside of her forearm rather than her hand to block out.
Cruz, low serve into the net. Ace JoJo Cruz. Durham timeout, and the swings continue with 7 straight points for Durham, now 4 for Malory, and they take the lead back in set number 3, 20-19, and Paul Welsh needs to stop any momentum before this set slides away.
Yeah, but going back to what you said in the last set, as soon as Cruz has come on, she made an impact, and that impact has continued all through this set. She's such a calm player. It's really easy at these times to get really caught up into the emotion of the point and the momentum of the game, but she's playing smart volleyball rather than panicked volleyball, and that's the difference maker.
We're going to look for the best pitcher, possibly give away some prizes for the best pitcher taken here
And reminder, make sure you're sharing this stream. You want to get as many people watching this semi-final as we can. This is an absolute battle between Durham Palatinates and Malory Eagles UEL, as Brand has to reach. Tip by Davis. Haber nearly came up with a heroic pancake, but couldn't quite get underneath it enough. And Malory pulled 3 points clear.
Yeah, Haber coming from an awkward position there to try and get cover on that ball. There's a good chance that the pancake would have gone well wide of the second referee and they'd have struggled to get it anyway.
Correction, 2 points clear for Malory's. Cruz makes Carfino play it. Terrific job. Latenkan slide blocked by Shi, but Malory will get it back. Batiste slide for Davis. Latenkan can't get there. And that's one of those plays, Latenkan, you're never going to get. You're almost better playing in a defensive stance, but she's had so much success. She's got every right to be ambitious.
Yeah, really smart play. Interesting to see. You see it sometimes with a setter dump where one will do it and then the other will. And that time it was battle of the slides.
Brand finds Sierra. I feel like we've said that 100 times. She with the tip. Latenkan wants it, gets the angle. Allen plays it. She off the back foot. Brand, she with a good position, dropping off the net. Allen with a big backcourt swing, but Sydney Stevens now with the return. Cruz finds the net, and that is a big point for Durham as they break 6 straight.
Yeah, really rare error from Cruz there. She's been quite solid so far. Again, another great rally. Interested to see that Brand is hitting almost over the top of the Malory block, but Sierra's doing such a great job of reading her.
Batiste
She's always in
with the
position.
dump. Alice Brand turned around going, where's my help? And it wasn't there. And Malory moved 2 points away from the set. Great recognition by Selena Batiste. And it'll be Pearl Davis back to serve. Stevens. Latenkan blocked by Warmington. Haber will set up Stevens. Another block. Stanton plays it. And Malory get a free ball. Allen from the back row, off speed, brings it home. Haber saw it, but couldn't quite get there.
Such a smart play by Allen here. You see her go up. Her hand is up early. Haber could have done a better job of reading that ball, but the placement of that.
The problem was for Haber, Stevens wasn't up on the net, so she had to cover line as Pearl Davis and Malory 4 set points. Stevens, cross court finds Davis. Warmington going to get there, so Malory out of rotation. She with a big swing. Carfino to Latenkan. Finishes with authority. And Carmen Carfino has done a terrific job for Durham on the defensive end.
Yeah, she's been all over the place. She's made some great reads. She's always in the right position. Beautiful one-handed set by Stanton there.
So Alice Brand, Durham captain, facing 3 set points on serve. Cruz, Batiste, she into the block. Malory do not have a timeout.
Coach Williams just looking at the scoreboard there.
Set point number 3 for Malory Eagles UEL. Cruz again on the service team. Batiste with the angle. Terrific job by the setter to read the angle. Haber nearly got there again, but Malory Eagles take it 22-25. And they lead 2-1 in this semi-final.
Again, the timing and the intelligence and the court vision to see that open space and to beat Haber out, who has been so phenomenal in defense for the Durham team.
And if you're Durham, how do you change this momentum? You had the run of 7 straight points, but if you take that off, Malory were in a dominant position for a lot of that set. So what does this Durham side now need to do to try and get back into this game?
I think it goes back to what you were saying before, Michael, is that they're too reliant on their middles. Yes, the slide has been really effective for Durham, but that's the only thing that seems to be getting onto the floor at this point in time. They need a little bit more of an effective swing, whether that be a hard swing, smarter tips, better placement from their outside and opposites, and as well the utilization of the pipe, which they didn't really bring into that set as much as they did in the prior set.
Indeed, and Carol Gordon having a very long chat with Chloe Allen here. captain and the assistant coach, was Cal Gordon, been around for a long time, knows Chloe Allen. And again, it's these details that you can get caught up in the emotion. It's now really about taking the emotion out of the game if you're Malory. Focus on what you've done well in set 2 and 3, and if you can put 25 points of that together, you'll be in a final tomorrow.
Yeah, tough as well for Allen playing a position that she's not natural to. You could see on the couple of rotations where she was hitting from the outside, she had a much more solid swing. She looks a little off balance sometimes from the opposite position, but she's done a really great job tonight.
And we've got to give credit. MVP is going to be brutal because you're not really, KJ Turner's in consideration, but right now it's so many players making defensive plays across the board both ways, and you can never say it's perfect defense, but it's very, very close.
It is very close. I mean, if you look at the liberos on both sides of the net, honestly, I think both of them should be a candidate for MVP. Maybe a little bit biased as a libero myself, but both Haber and Sierra have been everywhere. But we've also seen some impressive skill from the likes of Cruz, and Stanton has been great on the setting. She's had a couple of really impressive plays despite some imperfect passes from her team. Stevens has been pretty solid in the opposite position, and Carfino, again on defense, has just been phenomenal. Those reads are incredible.
And you can just see there was a very long conversation between Sydney Stevens and head coach Paul Welsh. But with Belair running around, you can see how loose this Malory substation is. Haven't seen a lot of changes since the middle of the first set. But this group is really loose right now. And if you think in Malory's weakness all year, they've struggled to close out tight games. But if they can keep this kind of loose and not be too nervous to think about how to close it out, it gives them a chance. As Malaya Stanton serves into the net and the opening point of set number 4. Rare service error. Can't think of too many from either side today.
No, there haven't been too many. I would say that maybe as the pressure just started to get to the Durham squad, especially when you're talking about the opening point of set number 4.
As Davis goes to Haber. Reverse set for Stevens, finds the gap. And that's the little bit of coaching by Paul Welsh. Little talk with Sydney Stevens, gets to the first ball, and she makes no mistake. And she'll get to head back to the service line. Allen, Sierra called for it, and Batiste was going to struggle. She goes long, but Haber again, perfect position. Brand has to go angle, and Batiste gets her hands in the way. I think Allen was there.
Yeah, a little bit of a miscommunication. That's a really tough ball because it's a tight angle that you don't see a lot of women hit, but that was the angle that was available to.
And again, Kelly Warmington getting some instructions from Jefferson Williams about trying to press a little bit more on the block. Malory just trying to close off angles as Cruz. Batiste rescues it, but again, it's a free ball. So low ball, Carfino has to pass it over. Allen called for it. Batiste finds Sheila Tenkin, another big hand. And now Carfino down the line beats Allen, and Durham start with 3 quick points.
That's what Durham were missing in the last set, is that those attacking options at the pin. Carfino again there, such a smart play to shoot that ball down the line.
She rolls over the top. Malory just haven't got a good swing, but Stanton panics a little bit. But poor set. Allen hits the line. That is ridiculous.
What an angle. And she's off balance. She's running after that ball, trying to get her hand to it. Not only does she do that, but she puts it away emphatically.
And our wonderful stream team have done a great job, but missing that replay is an error of judgment, because that is a spike you could see all day long as Letenkin replies down the middle.
Good change up by Durham, trying to move Letenkin around. Again, trying not to rely on that slide as much in this set, and you can see the impact already.
So this is the rotation Durham have done well in, with 2 middles on the floor, both Turner and Letenkin. Big spike by Allen, but dug out. Stevens from the backcourt, too long. Really, the rotation that's done the best is with Turner at the serve, but Durham want to have these two on court as much as they can in this fourth set if they want to try and force a fifth. As Steph Boyce heads to the bench, going to get instructions, so we might see a middle change by Malory. As Brand goes off speed, Sierra reads it well. Cruz hits it into the antennae. A rare poor set, it must be said, by Malory, giving Cruz not really an angle to work with and no speed.
Yeah, really difficult, that ball. She was trying to move out of the, she was trying to go around Warmington, who was there in the middle. So at the last second, having to try and set her body to put up a set and just push it a little too wide.
Sierra gets back pedal, Cruz into the block of Turner.
Rare from Cruz there not to see that the line was open on that block and instead trying to turn it cross court where Turner was there to shut it down.
Yeah, maybe just trying to find the seam was the better option with Turner having to cover so much ground. But as we said earlier in the call, Turner's so athletic, covers ground in a heartbeat. Allen off the tip, Brand does a good job. Carfino into the block of Warmington, but Durham keep it alive. And free ball as Allen set short, has to go, but great cover nearly by Stevens, but great discipline by Allen not to panic and just place the ball deep.
Yeah, really smart play there. Great pickup on the Durham side. Great to see this play continuing and to see that it's so close as well. It's still only 2 points difference between these two sides.
Warmington gets the overpass by Carfino. Davis gets denied, and again, KJ Turner with the perfect read. Didn't really give Davis much of an option, but the setting just a little bit loose right now by Malory.
Yeah, it's just a little bit slower at the minute, and you can see, as you mentioned before, Turner's so quick to make up that ground. She was able to get there and commit to that middle block.
Cruz has to go with angle to get it over the block. Stevens into the block. Nowhere for Sierra to go, and Durham lead by 4. And Jefferson Williams going to talk it over.
Such a smart play by Stevens there. The ball was coming from behind her shoulder, so it's always going to be difficult to get a good swing on it. So instead, knowing that the block is going to be well set in front of her, going for those high hands, aiming to get the ball off the block and well up so that it was out of play.
And it's credit to Durham. Your heads can drop if you lose back-to-back sets, but as soon as Malory's levels dropped a little bit, which it has in set number 4, Durham have been right there to punish.
Yeah, we saw in the last 2 sets that Malory's defense and passing had improved so much, and already in this set we've started to see that defense and the serve receive just drop off a little bit, and it's having such a negative impact on their attacking options that they're having a hard time keeping up with Durham right now.
Steph Boyce was sat down, now stood back up, so I wonder if his coaching changes. A terrific serve by Carfino. The ball in well inside the 3-meter line. Perfect serve, and she'll be credited for the ace. And Durham lead by 5. Batiste sets Allen on the cross court. She'll beat Brand. But an open net for Chloe Allen, something Durham do not want to give up too often. And
again, though, it's the quality of that pass that leads to such a quick offense that gives Allen that open net to swing at.
Haber. Stevens cross court, read by Sierra. Batiste will get there. Cruz into the block. And Allen's going to have to go from backcourt. Turner with the denial.
What a block by Turner. Again, such a great read on the shoulders of Allen to see where that ball was going to get to and putting it away. Batiste should have been a bit lower there, ready for that block coverage.
Sierra, another perfect serve receive pass. Latenkin gets her hands to the Davis slide, but it's over. Davis down the middle. Stevens pushes it over off the block. Can't quite get it in court.
Really smart play by Batiste there to go to Davis twice, but on 2 very different sets. On the slide at the first one, and then just a quick A-ball on the second.
So Cruz to serve. Finds Carfino, who's been rock solid in serve receive. Stevens into the block. Batiste and Davis combining, scrambled by Durham, and it'll be a free ball that Allen has to stretch for. Sierra with an amazing dig to keep the ball alive. Latenkin sliding, but Allen perfectly positioned. She into the block, and Malory win a big one.
So impressive by She there to get a good swing on that ball and go block out. She was going from a standing start, then she was a little off balance because she wasn't expecting the set to come to her, but it was such a great play.
Stevens into the block of Baptiste, and Durham edge another point.
I think that's similar to what we've seen Malory doing before, where they've been using the arms of Stanton as the smaller blocker, because the setter tends to be a little bit smaller than the outside hitters.
So Malay Stanton, the server back, Cruz onto knees. She with a big dig. And it'll be a free ball that Allen has to come well inside the 3-meter line to get. She pushes it. Allen does a great job getting to it. Sierra is going to allow She to get it, but no power on the hit. Brand from the angle beats Cruz.
Again there, Allen going over the top of the Malory block, taking advantage of her height and her vertical to put that ball over and down. And then Stanton into the net. Rare service error. Again, we don't see a lot of those in this match.
It's my normal one. It might be by your, yeah, it might be that one. Don't worry. As Brand keeps it in play, misplay by Malory, but Baptiste able to put it over Brandon. Again, it's just got a little scrappy for both teams.
Yeah, a bit of a scramble on both sides of the net there. There seemed to be a little bit of confusion. Interesting to see that ball was kept in play. Such a tough one to keep in.
As Davis into the net, and Air is just creeping in. I wonder if either coach is thinking about changing it up.
This is the time of the match as well where, you know, you're into the fourth set. It's been a long match already because it's been so tight, so many long rallies. There will be an element of fatigue.
Blocked by Brand, finds the corner. And here it comes indeed. Jefferson Williams looking at the bench, looking like he's going to change it up. Little bit of fatigue. Don't forget, Malory haven't played in a month. And that was a quick 3-0 against side out Polonia. So a little bit of lack of game fatigue and miscommunication. Warmington able to get it over, but not the slide she wanted. Latenkin finds Sierra. And Allen will have to give the free ball. Low off pace, Brand does well. Carfino into the block. Durham running away with set number 3. Sorry, set number 4. They lead it by 6.
Again, Durham doing something so different this set where they're not relying on their middles nearly as much. Probably good as well from a fatigue standpoint because you don't want to tire out your players, especially knowing that you've got another match tomorrow.
Set a change for Malory. First one we've seen today. Harriet Phillip Edwards into the game. Sets Warmington down the middle. Great play by the young setter straight off the bench. Under 18 national champion last week with Boswell School.
Such a smart play. Quick set. In a position that Durham haven't really seen from the Malory team. And as well with it being new hands, it's always harder to read for the first couple of balls.
Edwards a good server as well. She'll fight with Latenkin, somehow gets it over. And Carfino will have to put it up. Cruz. Long set for Allen off the block and out the hands of Sydney Stevens. And a quick couple of points for Malory.
Again, good distribution, really quick ball going out to Allen on the outside on that point. Smart play.
As Haber scrambling on the serve receive, fight for it. The net, Sierra into the antennae, nearly kept alive by Malory, but good patience by Brand to make sure she gets the kill.
Yeah, 2 great defensive touches by Sierra there. First to get that ball up. Unfortunately, it was an overpass and then wasn't able to keep the other one in. But the read is incredible.
So Latenkin back to serve. Durham leading by 5, needing to win the set to stay in it as Warmington finds the empty space.
Bit of a paintbrush there. Not the contact she probably wanted, but smart play.
And again, the change that worked in the second set, we haven't seen her in a while. Sophie Shishko, who was terrific defensively, replaces Eileen Shee for Malory. So Malory with a really, probably their best defensive 2 players based on the game today. She's got on the serve, Turner down the middle. Phillip digs it out. And Allen off the hands, went over Carfino. Haber couldn't get there. And Malory clawing their way back into this set ever so quietly.
Yeah, Allen taking advantage of that size differential between her and Carfino there. Really smart cut on that ball to keep it down the line.
Brand cross court down the game. It looked like they were going to, and Malory sat on that middle ball for Turner, and a great read by Stanton.
Yeah, Warmington absolutely convinced that Turner was going to get that ball and that it was going to be a B ball, so having to try and make up that ground just left a gap that Shishko wasn't able to defend in.
Shishko, Edwards keeps it alive. Warmington with the swing, but puts it long. And again, in just crucial points, Malory's serve received, just struggling a little bit to set up the offense. And Durham now on 1 foot to force this to set number 5. 18-13 they lead. Allen with authority.
Again, we've now seen the same thing happen to Durham that we saw with Malory a few points ago, where Turner was convinced that that ball was going to the middle, didn't quite close out the block. Allen had an open net to swing at between the 2 blockers and took advantage.
Early call by Stevens, wanting the serve received. Going to get a backcourt pipe attack. Puts it long though, Sydney Stevens. But nice little change up. We haven't seen many, well, I think it might be the first pipe we've seen since set number 1.
I think you might be right, actually. And I was saying between the sets that it is a good time to start bringing in that pipe attack.
Turner on the slide. Warmington gets her hands to it, but Malory not going to get there. No Sierra in the backcourt.
Unfortunately not. Great defensive touch by Warmington there, though. Again, Durham going back to what they, has been tried and true in this match, relying on those middles, picking up those slides.
Good angle by Cruz. Slight overset by Edwards. Cross court in on the line. Great kill, Sydney Stevens, and that just settles any Durham nerves.
Rare error by Sierra there, just out of her defensive position. She turned to her teammates immediately and apologized.
Low serve, Shishko able to get to it. Cruz, good angle. Haber diving to her right. Off speed, splits the gap with Edwards and Shishko, and Durham look like they're going to force 5 as coach Jefferson Williams calls timeout. And for Durham, you've started to get some momentum. You found some different options. Your outsides are really now going, and that's going to be crucial, because if we go to 5th set, being to 15, every point just has that little bit more on it.
Yeah, if we do go to a 5th set, the early momentum of the set is really going to define how it ends up. It's really difficult to come back when you've got so few points to do it in. I'll be interested to see if the Malory team gets the reset out of that timeout that it looks like Coach Williams is looking for.
Yeah, and they obviously had some success with the substitutions as well, just trying to mix up, give a couple of people some rest as well. As Edwards going to set Allen, but Allen running out of room. Can't get a good swing. Turner, slide, tip by Cruz, and Shishko couldn't quite get there.
Interesting there to see Durham go back to that middle slide attack.
Yeah, Malory actually at least started to get some hands on it as a low serve scooped up by Davis. Did well not to have an illegal carry. Turner on the slide. Davis is going to take it off. Cruz can only go tight angle. Stevens tight to the net. Killed by Allen on the overpass.
Smart play by Allen. She could have had a full swing of that, maybe would have put herself into the net. Instead, she just did a little bit of a beach-style pokey to put it deep into position number 5.
And another set of switch. So Batiste coming back in. Need a bit more blocking in the front court. As Allen, Haber has to go backwards. Stevens runs around it. Terrific job by Haber, but Allen gets, it's Batiste with the block, and that's an impact sub. once again.
Straight away, Batiste having the impact that Coach Williams would have wanted her to have. Really great block by the setter.
So Chloe Allen back to serve. Takes a little bit off it. Turner slide. Allen gets a hand to it, but not enough. And KJ Turner slide attack kill. If we got £1 for every time we said that, Jess, would be rich.
Oh, yeah. Even just in this one match as well. Durham have been hammering that slide, but it's still working for them, so why not?
Huge side out from Malory here, because that would get Turner off the court. As Cruz has to wait on it, finds Turner, good dig. Stevens off the double block, Shishko gets to it, Sierra's going to put it up, and Cruz, again, just has to be patient. Latenkin scoop. Davis on the slide, hands by Stevens, but Durham put it over first time. Davis down the middle, Carfino in the air. Another huge long rally. Stevens, too much on it.
Again, we're seeing Durham go back to what we've seen a couple of sets ago, where they're relying on that slide to put the ball away. When they're going out to their pin hitters, they're not doing the job. What I will say, though, is during that whole rally, amazing defense by Turner.
Cruz, Carfino handles it with ease. Latenkin down the middle. Sierra came way up, knowing it wasn't a big hit. She's go down the line, misses. And Durham will have 6 set points to send us to a set number 5 for the first time in either Cup Finals or Final Four.
Can we say, finally, we've been waiting for a 5-setter for 2 weeks now.
And it'll be Malaya Stanton, the Durham setter, heading back to serve. Cruz. Batiste, Davis on the slide, finishes.
Great to see Malory using the slide on their side as well. Davis has been really effective there.
Carfino. Stevens blocked by Batiste. The setter with back-to-back blocks late in this set. And if it might not win a set, but it might just be a momentum shift.
Yeah, this is a key component when you're heading into a set number 5, is even if you aren't going to win this set, give yourself a bit of an ego boost going into that 5th set so you can start strong.
Brand dug out by Shishko. Allen from the back goes with placement. Stanton has to play defense. Stevens off the tip. Line judge calls tip. Overruled by the official. He is having none of it. Sophie Shishko definitely was convinced it wasn't a tip.
Yes, 100%.
And Paul Welsh will call timeout. 3 straight points for Malory. So they've saved 3, but have 3 more to go on serve.
He'll be looking just to disrupt the momentum that Malory's starting to gain here, because what he doesn't want them to do is carry that momentum into set number 5. This is effectively a done deal. You know, there's still a chance that Malory can come back and win this set. It's highly unlikely at this point, but they're playing some really good volleyball right now.
And again, if you're Malory, you've had a couple of quick blocks. KJ Turner's off. So if you just want to get the ball in play here and see if your block can be set up, as Pearl Davis goes deep. Carfino, not a good play. Latenko's going to give up the free ball through Brand, and Warmington tips it over. Terrific defense once again by Haber. And the ball comes off the hands, and tip is called at the net. I think it may have hit the back line as well. And the referee's conferring that is set to Durham, 25-21. And ladies and gentlemen, we will have a 5th set here in the second women's final for the right to play team side out tomorrow at 2:30. The loser of the 5th set will have an early start here for 10:30 against the Essex Rebels.
Yeah, the referee just calling the captains over to do the coin toss for the 5th set. Really exciting match. We thought going into this, and you guys agreed with us on the poll, that this was going to be tight to decide who was going to win. So great to see that coming to fruition and everybody getting to watch a fantastic game of volleyball.
So Alice Brand wins the toss.
Do you think they'll go with the same that they did at the opening set and choose to receive?
And Durham was so confident that rotation was already in, regardless of serve receive. As Jefferson Williams just finds out what they're doing and he'll think his rotation over. He's got Carol Gordon, Ian Legrand talking to him, 3 experienced coaches. And they'll be just trying to work out what they want. Reminder, these two went to 5 the last time they met. Was in December. Malory won the 4th set 29-27, but Durham came back, won it 15-13 in the 5th. Jess, key to set number 5, be ahead at what stage?
As early as possible. Getting that lead early in the 5th set, you've only got 15 points to go to. It sounds like a lot on paper, but when you're playing the game, it goes by so fast. Interesting to see as well on the Malory side, there was quite a lot of talking going on by Cruz while the coaches were conferring off to the side. So interested to, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that conversation.
Durham elected to receive, so it'll be Malory to open up the serve.
It's an interesting choice considering what happened when Durham did have the first set. So Stanton made one of her service errors on the first point of set number 3. So, sorry, that would have been set number 4. Interesting to see.
I mean, it is pretty easy for Durham. They don't go to the bench often, so the same 7, you're not going to change a ton up. Be interesting to see where they put Turner in the rotation, because she's rotated off for the closing parts of the sets, and realistically, I think for Durham to win, I think she has to be on the court late in this set.
Yeah, she needs to be. She's been so effective on the slide for them. She's been their go-to player. I will say as well, if they could happen to have her in service at the last couple of points of the match, it will be amazing to see. Interesting to see that Shisko is starting in this 5th set.
We'll see on the rotation who rotates off. It's going to be Warmington. It's going to be Cruz to serve. So Malory really rolling the dice with some changes here. She on the bench, she's played most of this game. They go back to Batiste at set. That's not a big surprise with her blocking, but we may see a backcourt, frontcourt rotation potentially here for setters as well. But it'll be Jojo Cruz to get us underway for set number 5.
Interesting change-up as well. It looks like Allen is playing in the outside position and Shisko's coming as the opposite. So
Chloe Allen going back to bread and butter if that is the case. Tight serve, Letenkin off the hands. Shishko keeps it alive. Cruz keeps it in. Great work by Malory. Stevens to Sierra. Malory will have a swing at this. Allen goes off speed. Haber has been terrific with a dig. Brand, Cruz. Allen has to get into it. Ball comes back on the Malory side. Shishko. Stevens cross court, big first point, Durham.
what an opening point. To see that chase down by Batiste earlier in the point, great swing by Stevens there. Inside the block, down hard. Cruz unfortunately can't deal with that one.
Sierra calls for it, perfect pass, slide for Davis, goes tip. Haber can't quite get there, Pole Davis. It's been huge for the Malory in the middle with Grace Lazard out.
She has been so effective on that slide, just like we've seen Turner on the Durham side. Interesting as well to see her with the change up on the speed. That tip, Haber's been so good in defense and she didn't read it.
Brand finds the gap. Davis went line, Cruz went cross court, and Brand to perfection. She's not had her best game as a hitter, Alice Brand, but all cards are off in set number 5. It's now when it matters.
Yeah, if ever there was a time to turn on the Jets, this is it.
Cruz. Overpass. I have no idea how Batiste wins that.
Single-hand block by Batiste on Turner. Cool
she had a back
as
to
ice.
the net. Selena Batiste, that is ridiculous.
That has to be the play of the match.
That might be play of the season. set well off the net, so Durham go pipe. Batiste has to play it. She went to start going into set, so free ball given up. Allen just goes high and loopy. Cross court. Carfino, Sierra, big dig. And the ball goes way over. Shishko went to chase. That would have been impossible.
I think it actually crossed the net between the antennas, which meant that even if Shishko could have gotten to that ball, she couldn't have brought it back.
Either way, we'll applaud the effort.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You can see how much both teams really want this win.
Alice Brands with the serve, the Durham captain. Back set for Allen off the net cord. Good dig out by Brand. Carfino cross court will find Shishka. And she'll get it back, but tight angle leaves it long. And Durham have the first 2-point lead in this tiebreak.
And this is what we were saying before. This is the time that you need to be getting ahead. If Durham can hold on to this 2-point lead, obviously they'll take the set. But is Malory mentally strong enough to come back right now?
They have lost a lot of close 5-setters this year, Malory Eagles. Allen, good dig by Brand, but it's over, so Malory will reset. Warmington blocked by Turner. Batiste will push it over. Great defense. Turner, slide, kill.
And again, we see the effectiveness of Turner on that slide. Warmington did a great job in that point with some self-cover on one of her hits. Great reactions from the team to keep that ball alive, giving the free ball to Durham, and Durham doing exactly what they should be doing with a free ball.
Batiste, Shishko has to tip it. Turner, slide, goes cross court, Batiste plays it, that's gone into the stands. And Malory are unraveling. And Jefferson Williams is going to talk it over, down 6-2.
Yeah, it's early in the set, but when you only have 15 points, you have to change things up now. You need to get ahead of that momentum swing.
Jojo Cruz grabs a water bowl. Jefferson Williams talking it over. Hasn't quite worked in the offensive front court for Malory with Shishko in the front rotation. So I wonder if you go back to She, who has struggled, or do you go with another middle? You've got to change it up somehow, I would imagine.
Yeah, interesting to see Coach Williams there talking to his team. He's see his arms go up in a blocking motion. He must be talking about how they need to angle themselves for the block.
And he spent a lot of time looking back at his bench. He's got to be thinking about something. Obviously, the advantage of set 5 is you get the same amount of substitutions, but less points to make them. Warmington blocked by Turner. KJ Turner is killing. And
Turner has been on fire. She's been so quick to get herself in front of all of the players to make quite a few really good blocks. Now we have a setter change.
What a moment this is to change your setter. Harriet Edwards, the 18-year-old, back into rotation. The offense not firing. Sierra gets crossed up with Allen. So she's got a big swing, but Carfino perfectly placed. Turner, slide. Why not keep going to it?
Again with the slide and the effectiveness there. And you can still see that Malory are struggling with that particular play. You had Shishko there blocking for a line, Warmington blocking for a cross ball, and Turner taking full advantage of the massive gap between the two blockers.
Obviously 8 points. Change of ends in set number 5. So a very quick breather. Alice Brand still on serve. It was definitely 3-2 Durham. I can't remember if it was 2 all in. I think it may have been. So it's 6 straight points on for Durham, 5 for Brand. Substitution for Malory. She for Shishko. Not going to say I called it.
But you did. We'll give you that one.
But Malory need a side out. Sierra. Set for She buries it. Huge Malory point. But now you've got to find something on serve.
You do, but that's exactly the type of impact that you want your substitute to have, especially in such a crucial position, because Malory have been very reliant on their pins today.
So Chloe Allen, who can go a little bit more risky on serve. She's the one big server for Malory. Sierra, as Stevens went from the backcourt. Philip Edwards finds Warmington tip. Carfino can't quite kill it. And Edwards again just changing the speed, changing the flight, and she's had some success.
Yeah, really smart play there. Interesting as well that with Shi back in the court, they're putting her on the outside and moving Cruz to hit from the opposite position.
Turner looking slide. Warmington gets her hands to it, but no good.
Much better positioning by Warmington there, but still just can't deal with the slide of Turner.
I mean, if I'm Durham, I think I live with it until it stops, because KJ Turner, all 5 sets, has had success. She tips it into space. Carfino, terrific cover. Brand on the block. Warmington plays it, but tips it away from Edwards. And a point on serve for Durham in the 5th is huge. They're now 5 points away.
Yeah, Edwards will be a bit disappointed there because I think she had that ball. She was coming in to cover it.
Another roll of the dice for head coach Jeff Williams. Steph Boyce, who hasn't played since about 12-9 in set 1, on in the middle. She into the block. Good job by Stevens. Tilled by Turner. Malory net touch though by Turner. Oh, in fact then.
Sorry, it is Malory point, but I think what the referee has called here is that Turner invaded the space of Malory and said that that ball did not actually cross the plane of the net.
Probably a really good read. KJ Turner being so aggressive. But either way, point to Malory. They need it. And Steph Boyce intercept. That's going deep, but Haber plays it off the back foot. Turner, delayed block as the ball came down a little bit. She's going to have another swing into the block. Allen plays it. Philip Edwards, tough angle to set. Cruz gets it over. And Haber will dig it out. Davis down the middle. Haber, terrific play by the libero. And she'll have to pass it over. In system for Malory. She with power over Stanton. And that's where Malory had success, going at Malaya Stanton.
Really great play from Malory then. Turner was committed to Davis. She was convinced that after passing that free ball, Davis was coming in for an A quick. And unfortunately,
Haber, low set. That's blocked by Cruz, but Durham will retain, have a recycle. Stevens, cross court, finds the angle. Huge by Sydney Stevens.
Great swing by Stevens. We haven't seen a lot of pin kills from the Durham side, but good to see them coming in clutch when they need it.
And this has been Durham's best rotation. KJT on serve. Letenken in the position. Overpass. Davis keeps it up. 4 touches Malory. And Durham move 3 points away.
Again, Malory have struggled not only with the serve receive of Turner's serve, but also the fact that Turner is so great on defense, especially for a middle.
Allen calls for the ball. Cruz down the line, finds the gap.
I am not sure how she squeezed that ball between the block and the pin
Over
and
Stanton.
got it in.
Yeah, Brown wasn't expecting line at all.
Great swing.
So Eileen Shi back to serve. Carfino plays it well. Letenken faked the slide. Stevens cross court, off the hands. Cruz slow to get there. And Durham 1 point closer as Malaya Stanton, who's been terrific as a setter,
Yes.
will have a service opportunity to send match points her side's way. Durham trying to set up a rematch of last week's final. Edwards to Davis, timing not quite there. Stevens down the line, finds it. The sideline, and Durham have 7 match points.
I think that was the most emphatic swing that we have seen from Stevens all night.
Batiste in for blocking as a setter as well. But it might be too little too late. This has been a terrifically composed comeback by Durham Palatinates. Davis on the slide saves the first.
That's a great play, and that's all off the back of that incredible serve received by Sierra on a very tough serve. Davis with a great swing there.
And JoJo Cruz will head back to serve. Cruz has been terrific for Malory. Carfino. Stevens cross court off the shoulder of Shi, dug out by Malory. Chloe Allen, what a play that was. Brand into the block by Davis.
What a
Malory,
play. How
how
did they keep that
are
up?
you still in this game?
The fight is there. The fight is real. It's just coming too late in this last set.
The one thing we do not want this game to end on is a service error. Both teams have served exceptionally well. Cruz, Carfino does well. That ball moving away late. Stevens cross-court beats Shi, and the Durham Palatinates are into the final against Team Side Out. 15-9 in the fourth.
Yeah, very convincing.
Sorry,
fifth
59
set.
in the fifth.
Very
But
convincing
what a
fifth set.
fight.
Incredible match. Great plays on both sides of the net. Really incredible standout players. I'm so impressed by the liberos of each team. The sets have been great, and you know, there's been highs and lows for each of the teams. They'll both have things to take away and be really proud of.
Yeah, and heartbreak for Malory. It's going to be a very tough ask now to turn around mentally for tomorrow.
It will, but tomorrow is when things are on the line. It'll be interesting as well to see, you know, the match this morning went to 3. This one has gone to 5. Malory's got an early game tomorrow, so they've got less time to recover after playing a longer match. How will they deal with the fatigue?
Indeed, and as for Durham, high fives all around, well deserved by this team. Momentum kind of slipped away late in the season, losing the championship on the last set of the day. Oh, sorry, the league on the last day. Getting swept last week, being 2 sets to 1 down. All the cards were there for them to just fold, and they stepped up where they needed it the most.
Yeah, incredible mental resilience. Really great to see from them. And excited to see what they come out and do tomorrow against Side Out Polonia after what happened last weekend.
Yeah, they'll be fired up for that rematch. We're about to have another rematch. Durham Palatinates, Malory Eagles men. That is going to be a doozy. But before we leave, question, game MVP.
Oh, this is really tough. There were some really great players on both sides of the net. I will have to say, from a Malory standpoint, I really thought Cruz was the difference maker for them. But in the Durham side, you know, there were some great plays by Haber. Stanton was great on the setting. But at the end of the day, I have to say that KJ Turner has to take it for me. She was incredible, unstoppable on that slide, massive in the block, amazing in defense. Who says that about a middle blocker? Never, ever. That was, and you pointed it out, that was their best rotation, was with KJ on the serve.
Indeed. Well, Jess, you get game number 4 off, so you get to go lie down. I'll be back in about 20-25 minutes for the men's game, but final score here, Durham Palatinates 3, Malory Eagles 2, Durham Side Out final, and we'll get ready for the men. From myself, Mike Hanson, Jess Smith, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in 20 minutes for semi-final number 4 of Final 4 2024.
Right, don't forget we've got the men's second semi-final, the last game of the day.